Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for dropping in. This is Healing Body, Mind, and Soul with Aeriol Asher. And I'm your host today, and I have the honor and privilege to be here today with one of my new friends. I'm so excited to share her with you, Jenine Lori Schirtzer. I used all of her names just in case you wanted.
Thank you, I appreciate
all
that.
of your names, because I've had a lot of people come on and they get very picky about their names, and I know because I've had a lot of names in my time as well. I was so happy to have Jenine come on today. I met her through her husband, Carl, who I took a hypnotherapy class from earlier this year. And he kept saying, I think you'd like my wife. I think you'd like my wife. And he was sharing some of her work online, and I saw the beautiful illustrations that she did for her award-winning children's book. And I'm like, you know what? I think he's right. I really already like his wife. We have conversations, and she's on today with me for this episode. And I just want to share her with you all because she, I feel, is a kindred spirit, and she's into so many beautiful things. She's a healer, she's an author, and she's a mother, and is dealing during these times at the recording of this episode during these times of the COVID-19 quarantine. So we have so many subjects that we can share today, Jenine. I can't wait for our listeners to get a taste of everything that you have going on.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And for our new found connection and friendship, it's so wonderful how the universe works and connects people. I'm just always amazed by it.
So tell us a little bit about this fabulous book of yours. I got very interested in your children's book because of the work that I do, and I just resonated with it. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, the book, it's Surprise I Have Three Eyes, is really about us connecting with our inner vision. It's about, the place where visions and dreams really are born, which is within. We have these magical thoughts, and, imagination really to me is creation. And I wanted to, as an artist, my whole life, I've had a vivid imagination, and I've always connected to, the artistic and fantasy side of life and reality. And that has been my inspiration throughout my entire journey here. And, 12 years ago, I had actually had this magical book come to me, and I thought I was going to publish it then, and it didn't happen, and I kind of forgot about it. And then one day it came back, and I was thinking, it's time. And so I spent several years really working with the incredible imagery that came through for this book. And so I put forth my inner vision really into the fantasy side and the elements of creativity, imagination, and creation. And I like to really emphasize that the book has a very whimsical, childlike flow, and it really inspires us to remember the child within. So yeah, it's been a lovely journey. I wasn't quite sure how it would be received, but it's been fantastic to really get out there to, the children and the adults alike who are connecting with that childlike whimsy and energy, and remembering that impossibility of the visions and dreams that we have.
And if I'm not mistaken, so what we're really talking about is this book is really a consciousness raising book, and helping children and adult children embrace their gifts. I haven't read the book, I've only seen some of the pictures, and you and I have discussed it. Am I on point there, Jenine?
Yeah, absolutely. So the books that I write are, conscious raising, conscious awareness, the ability for us to realize that the reality that we perceive is a perception. We are all so unique in what we see, and to not limit what our perception of reality is. The main character in the story, Joey, he has what you would call imaginary friends, and they're beautiful, whimsical creatures all over the forest, and they're with him on his journeys. And then one day, you know, some children tell him they're only pretend, and he doesn't understand. How is that possible? You know, I see these creatures, and they're fantastic, and they're lovely. And he was very saddened by it. And so one of the main magical creatures takes him on a journey, and, you know, shares with him why they are as real as you may believe. You know, it's all a matter of how you perceive. And it's really just, it shows us that everything is as real as what we may perceive. And it's what we believe in that makes this magic a reality. And I think that that goes far beyond the fantasy. I think that that is something that we could take into everyday context for everything. You know, that life is a perception of what we believe in. And it's something that can go for children and also adults.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell everybody that I work with children of all ages.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I would say that, you know, my life as an adult is far more magical when I remember the energy of being a child. And when I have that whimsy and that fun and that flair in my life, and, you know, life becomes a lot more enjoyable. So we all need a little bit of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you're also a mom, and we touched upon this subject that right now, not only are people having to pivot their businesses, my friends that are coaches and authors, everybody's having to pivot their businesses and figure out how to get online, but as parents, everybody is having to deal with their home life situation. And you and I were having a conversation about that, and I would just love to dip into that a little bit today. How is it managing having children at home?
Well, I mean, I think we're all going through a bit of, you know, restructuring in our lifestyles right now. I was just saying this morning, I was going through some crazy emails about, you know, the homeschooling situation, and the schedule keeps changing. And, you know, we just have to be very resilient, as we said, and just, you know, keep on trekking and learning, and it just keeps on changing. So we're all just kind of going with the flow. But as we had discussed earlier, you know, we have a child that has a rare autoimmune condition called PANS. And it's kind of where autism was about 15 years ago. So it's not really an established condition. There's not so much research on it. Some don't even understand if it even exists, but those of us that have children with it, we could definitely tell you that there is a condition that we deal with. It's an everyday reality, and we are just learning as we go. And it was tough. It was, you know, my ideal when I was pregnant and thinking about having a child didn't include this. I didn't think that I was going to have a child that had, you know, a situation that I was going to have to think of on my own. I went to about 11 different doctors,
Wow.
didn't give us any understanding of what we were going through. So a lot of going within. A lot of changes happened early on where we didn't know what was going on with him, and he wasn't following the norm of what most children were following. So even at an early time period, we've had to think on our feet. And I know that there's a lot of other parents who go through similar situations like that, you know, for if they have a child with autism or whatever their uniqueness is. They've had to go through a moment or a time in life where they really had to become resourceful and think about what is it that we do, because the answers weren't out there, and they didn't know what, you know, the future would bring, because the moments would shift. What our son deals with PANS, it's an autoimmune situation that attacks the brain when he becomes sick. And then when he's feeling better, he'll go back to the way he was. So there's a lot of unpredictability that comes with this. One moment you have a different child than the next. So we have to constantly be thinking on our feet, a lot of meetings at school. And of course, with it comes the surrender. The moments of, I was that mom that was looking for every answer under the sun. You know, what could I do to change this? How can I help my son through all kinds of diet, you know, and different homeopathic remedies. I learned homeopathy. I learned different natural, you know, modalities, health regimes. I've tried it, everything from, like I was telling you, we had camel's milk in our fridge to, you know, eating different types of diets. I've gone to so many different doctors, and the answers really weren't there. I wasn't finding them. And one moment I was just surrender, you know, a ball on my floor, just completely, I just felt like I couldn't find the answers. And it's tough when you have a child, because your natural ability is to want to help. And I just, in that moment, said, you know, maybe I'm not here to change him. Maybe he is here and the situation is here to change me. And I let it go, and I allowed that process to be. And why I'm bringing that up right now, of course, is because I think that a lot of people are going through that right now, where we don't have the ability to control this. We cannot change it. We are at the mercy of outside circumstances. And it is affecting our children. It's affecting all of us. And all we could really do right now is surrender and say, maybe there's something in this that is changing me. And in that moment, everything actually did change. My perception of the reality shifted. My ability to be in that moment and be more consciously aware in that situation shifted. And then, of course, the books and and all of my ability to take whatever rawness was in this situation and put it forward to something that could help others became accessible to me. But it wasn't until that moment of surrender and acceptance that that became my reality.
Right. And it's really about being even aware that you need to surrender, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's little baby steps to get to every single place. What advice do you have for parents who are home alone with their kids, whether they are unique or special or not? I'm sure a lot of parents can use a super tip to help them get to this place of surrender.
Well, I mean, I think just looking at my process, there's a few things that have become super, super supportive for me. One is to well, first of all, patience. You know, this is something that it's not like, oh, I've shifted into this and now I've got it.
It's not one thing and then
no, it's
another, right?
We have to, you know, in that moment, we surrender to it, and we have a lot of forgiveness for ourselves and our own place in it, because it's hard, you know, and realize that we are doing as parents the best that we can, and that changes from moment to moment. And sometimes, you know, I kick and scream and have a temper tantrum of my own, and that's okay. You know, to give ourselves a little bit of room and space to nurture ourselves and our own spirit in it. And I think that is the most important thing that I can say is recognize your own being, nurture yourself, give yourself a lot of space to have your own identity and joy in your life. Have something that fills you, whatever that is for you. For me, I recognize I need to be in nature. I need to go on hikes. I need to have me time. And for any parent, I think it's very important to honor that you are your own unique identity, separate from your child. And you need to nurture who that is and fill your own bucket. And then you have more to give to your child and the situation. That has really helped me.
Sing it, sister. Yes.
You know, and then of course, again, yes, patience, because every moment shifts and changes. And, you know, we do have to be on it in the moment to see what presents itself. And it's going to shift for sure.
Every moment be at the beginning again.
Yeah, and right now we're in times where we just don't know what's happening. We have no idea what tomorrow will bring. And then, you know, the other thing that has really shifted for us is realizing that we are so much in the moment with this, because we never knew, you know, with a situation with a child with hands, one moment they can be one way, and then 5 minutes later another. And we don't know how long an episode is going to last. We've had episodes that have lasted 6 months. We have episodes that have lasted a few days, and we just never know what the future will bring with that. So it really has given us the opportunity to be in the moment, because we don't know what the future will bring. And this is what's happening to the world right now, is that we don't know where we will be. So let's be present and work with what's right in front of us, and not think about what will be tomorrow. Right now, this is what we have, and this is where we are, and then just let the rest go.
Very good advice, regardless of what situation anybody is in, right? Really, really good advice. Jenine, can you share with our listeners how they can reach out to you if they would love to get some of your sage wisdom for themselves?
Sure. Well, I have a website. It's JanineLori.com. And you could pretty much find me anywhere. Just look up Jenine Lori, JenineLori. And I have an account through Instagram and Facebook. You can follow me there and just directly connect to me through my website as well.
Awesome. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with today? Any more super tips you are burning to share?
Well, yeah, I think that this is definitely an unusual time in our world, and so for me, I look at it as a really important shift. It's a moment for us to be able to, on a worldly scale, look at something that is deeply changing within each of us, and the shift is very powerful. But I think that it is, immensely beautiful in many ways, because if we take this moment to really look within ourselves and find the beauty in what's happening, I think that we can have some monumental shifts for the better, just even individually. And that's where it has to happen first and foremost, is on the individual level. And of course, our children are always helping us with that too. So if they push us, there's a good reason.
Yeah, they're teaching us a couple things, right?
Absolutely. But these are good times in our world. I feel that our world is really hungry for change, so in many ways, while it may be a bit uncomfortable, I think if we can find, the strength in it, we will absolutely, be in a good place.
I couldn't agree more. I do agree it's uncomfortable, and some people it's very uncomfortable, right? And even to the degree of sickness, not just inconvenience. But I think overall that this is a good sign that that the spotlight has been shown on all the cracks and crevices where change needed to take place, and it's our first step, our first foothold into evolving into something better. I'm actually quite optimistic. So
yeah, I have that same feeling, and I look at it wherever the discomfort is, within myself, those are the places where I need to still look at. Those are the areas where my inner self is asking me to shed some light and look in those areas. So wherever we are in this moment, it's different for all of us. We're all uniquely going through something. And whatever is shining its light, whatever you're feeling in this moment, it's important for us to recognize and look at it, because it's where we're looking to shift and change so that we could, be our greatest.
absolutely. Jenine, I could talk to you all day. This is so juicy, so fun. I feel like we have congruent messages, and I just feel like you're such a gem. I love all that you're sharing with the world, and I'm so, so grateful that you were here today on our Healing Body, Mind, and Soul podcast platform. So reach out at JanineLori.com. That was the website, correct?
Yes, that was correct. Yeah.
Okay, JanineLori.com.
Yeah, and
it'll be in the
ways
show
to
notes.
connect email.
Very good. Okay, my friends, so that's going to wrap it up today. I'm sure you've got some juicy nuggets to help you at this time, and I'm sure that you're going to want to reach out to Jenine and check out her beautiful, beautiful children's books. So thank you, everyone, for dropping in, and until next time, happy healing.